I can do this all day. I can do this all day. I can do this all day. Yeah, I can do this all day, all day, all day. I can do this all day. I can do this all day, all day, all day, all day. I can do this all day, all day. I can do this all day, all day, every day, all day. I can.
Yo, what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Big Dom. We are back on my page with some post-fight analysis for this Terence Crawford Canelo Alvarez fight. If you guys watched my pre-fight video, turns out that my prediction was correct. Terence Crawford was able to defeat Canelo Alvarez by unanimous decision. So, you know, if you watch some of my videos, you kind of see why I thought that Terence Crawford would come out victorious against Canelo Alvarez. So we'll just go down the list with some points. First of all, shout out to both fighters, man. I love that Bud dared to be great. I told you guys that he wasn't coming here to play around, and he didn't. Shout out to Canelo also, man. Canelo, I think he really put his best foot forward. He came into this fight in shape. You could tell, you know, even with the way he came in, that, you know, you could tell that, you know, this guy trained for this fight. He knew not to take Bud lightly, and he didn't. So, you know, shout out to Canelo. Y'all, I think y'all know I'm not the hugest Canelo fan for a few different reasons, but I always tell people, just because I don't necessarily like what someone does doesn't mean I don't respect them. Canelo is, you know, one of, if not the biggest name in boxing since Floyd Mayweather retired. Canelo has been doing this for, you know, almost 20 years. So I love that he accepted this challenge and allowed Bud this chance to prove that he is the greatest fighter of our era, because there's no disputing that now. Anything you had bad to say about Bud, his resume, you know what I'm saying, the way he does things, you got to throw that all out the window now. Only thing you can say to Bud right now is congratulations. Welcome to Mount Rushmore, because, you know, as I said last night before the fight started, I really thought we were about to see Bud go from boxing legend to boxing god. And he showed us why he is a boxing god, you know, just on a whole different level than most of the other fighters that you've ever seen last night. One of the first things I want to talk about that everybody was talking about before the fight was the size difference in Canelo and Bud. I told you guys that size wouldn't play a huge factor like you guys said before the fight. And this is why I said that. First of all, Canelo is a small 168 pounder. He's not as tall as a lot of the guys. He's wide. Like, Canelo is like a tank. But when you look at their heights, I want to say Terence is probably an inch taller than him. You can even look at their arm lengths. Terence has much longer arms than Canelo. And that was a major factor in last night's fight. I think that people don't realize that Bud is, you know, probably walks around maybe at 190. So I think Bud not having to lose as much weight actually helped him. You know, instead of having to get down to 154, you know, he walking around at 190. Now I only got to get down to 168. I also told you guys that their year off would help Bud. One of my friends was saying, he's going to be ring rust and, you know what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. And I always tell people, I don't necessarily believe in ring rust unless a fighter hasn't been doing what they're supposed to be doing outside of the ring. Boxing is a full-time sport. Even when you're not in the ring, the things that you do outside of the ring can affect you tremendously inside the ring. So you can look back at somebody like a Floyd Mayweather. I always tell people that Floyd Mayweather was so great because he was disciplined. Floyd Mayweather was never out of shape. Like, you could catch Floyd Mayweather 365 days a year ready to get into the ring. Floyd didn't drink. Floyd didn't smoke. So, you know, Floyd realized that, you know, I got to take care of myself. And I think that Terence Crawford is that same type of person. You never see Bud really blow up outside of the ring. You know, he's fairly always in shape, always working out, always fighting, always sparring, and that means a lot. So I said, you know, the opposite of what everybody else thought. I said that Bud was being meticulous. That year out of the ring gave him the time to gain the weight the right way, to get down to 68 the right way. I'll say get down to 68 now, since you guys understand what I'm talking about. He was able to put on the nice lean muscle. He was able to keep the stamina with adding on the extra muscle. So he kind of got the best of both worlds, where he was able to pack on muscle and get stronger while also being able to get in 15-round shape. Because Bud was in hella shape last night. At no point did you ever see Bud get tired, even though he was technically carrying extra weight, as everybody says. Another reason you guys can go back and look at my videos, I said that Bud would win this fight was just because I thought that these were two fighters that were both great, but I think they have two totally different mentalities over the last few years. Whereas I said Canelo Alvarez has been fighting for money. I'm not saying he doesn't love the sport, but a lot of the people that Canelo should have been fighting and handling business with at 168, he hasn't done. Once again, we have to go on record to say that up to this point, Canelo has ducked David Benavidez. David Benavidez pretty much had to move up to 175 and just go on about his career, because he never thought he was going to get that Canelo fight. And I think it's ironic that he moved up to 175, got his ass beat by Bivol. And then also he goes on to fight a smaller guy, a natural 147, 155 pound guy in Terence Crawford. He let him move up to his territory and still got his ass beat. And that's not to be disrespectful, but that's just what happened last night. Terence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez's ass. So I think, you know, whereas Canelo was fighting for money and big events, Crawford was fighting for one thing. That one thing he's been looking at and been focused on for a couple years now. As soon as he put Canelo in his targets, I knew Canelo was in trouble. Because I always tell people, once you stop trying to be the best in your division and take on all comers, you kind of lose a little bit. Now, I don't ever feel like Terence Crawford lost that hunger to prove that I'm the best. No matter what y'all say, I believe in me, even if you don't believe in me. And I think that was one of the biggest things that nobody is going to talk about after this fight. Because before the fight, it was like, oh, you know, we'll go a few months out before the fight. And people were saying that Crawford really didn't have a chance in this fight. And as the fight kept getting closer and closer, I started seeing a lot of opinions change. I think y'all seen that fire in Bud's eyes. I think y'all seen that I'm not fucking around with y'all in Terence Crawford's eyes. And I seen people start switching to, man, Bud may be able to do this. Bud might be able to do this. But I've been saying since day one, when Terence Crawford accepted this fight, Canelo in trouble. Canelo is in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, go back and look at the tapes. I said all this stuff. I also thought that in this fight, I went with Bud because I felt like Bud had more ways to win. I feel like Bud had more tools in his tool belt. And I told you guys that I thought that Canelo would have to knock Terence Crawford out to beat him. And that goes back to the point I just made, mentalities. You seen that Canelo hasn't really knocked anybody out since, I think, Caleb Plant? And that was a good while ago. So Canelo doesn't have many knockouts at all in his last 10 fights. So I really didn't think with the skill set and the amount of movement that Crawford would be able to do in the ring that Canelo would be able to knock him out. I thought it was a possibility. I said in this fight that I could see somebody getting knocked down, but I can't see anybody getting knocked out either which way. But Bud was able to be very, very intelligent in the ring. I love how he was able to be defensively responsible while also being able to get his shots off. So once again, it's kind of like, yo, we seen history last night in the making. I don't think a lot of people that don't watch boxing on a regular basis really understood what they got to witness last night. We literally got to witness boxing history. Nobody in men's boxing has ever did what Bud Crawford just did. So y'all got to put some respect on his name. You know what I'm saying? Win, lose, or draw, you know what I'm saying? How you feel about Crawford, you got to put some respect on his name now. And that's what I love about boxing. You can't fake boxing. You know what I'm saying? If you got the skills that pay the bills, they're going to show up when you need them to show up. And that's exactly what happened in the fight last night. And I also want to go on record to shout out Terence Crawford's team, his coaching. He has a amazing team around him. I just want to go on record to say that if we now have to put Terence Crawford on the Mount Rushmore of boxing, which we do, you know what I'm saying? He, in my opinion, I think he goes up there with the Muhammad Ali's, the Roy Jones Jr.'s, you know what I'm saying? Those, just epic fighters that when you mention boxing, you got to mention their name. Terence Crawford is up there now by him defeating Canelo Alvarez last night. But also, if we're going to say that, you know who we got to put on Mount Rushmore as a trainer? Bomac. You know what I'm saying? Bomac and his team always have Crawford ready with detailed game plans. If this happens, we do this. If this happens, we do this right here. There's never a time where Bud has come in that ring unprepared. And I think that's an even bigger thing to note about Bud, but also to note about his team. Excuse me. No one man is an island. And Bud, knows that he has the best team in boxing. One of the best teams in boxing is in Omaha, Nebraska. So I just want to put some respect on Bomac's name, man. Like, I see you too, Bomac. I see y'all team. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love how y'all operate. Like, I feel like Nebraska is a lot like the place that I'm from. I'm from Mississippi. And one thing about us is that we're going to stick together. You know what I'm saying? No matter what, we're going to stick together. We all going to stand up or we all going to fall. But one thing we all going to do is stick together. And I love that they have put the eyes on Omaha, Nebraska like they have. I love that they have stuck together because I see so many fighters get to a certain level and leave their trainers, leave the people that have been riding with them for years, and go join other teams and try other things. It's kind of like, man, like, I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong way to do it, but if you want a good example of what doing things the right way looks like, you got to look at Bud Crawford and his team. I said that I expected this to go 12 rounds. I was on Threads last night, and I saw this person make a comment that the first round was so boring, and it's kind of like, yo, baby, and this is high level boxing. The first round is always like a fill out round. And I still even think that Bud controlled the first 3 or 4 rounds. It took Canelo a while to warm up. I thought Canelo fought the best fight that he probably could have last night, and I think he knows that too. And that's why I was so happy to see after the fight that he didn't have any excuses. He even had to know Bud's greatness. Bud was in 15-round shape, man. Even with all that extra weight on him, like, Bud was ready to go last night. You know what I'm saying? And you can't replace that type of mentality, man. I don't know what's next for Crawford, personally, and not even from a negative standpoint, from a very positive angle. I hope Bud retires. I hope Bud take him a week off, or maybe 2 weeks. I think his birthday is coming up. But I hope that he retires because there's so much money waiting on him now that he is the greatest boxer of this era. Man, I retire. I do exhibition fights like Mayweather and everybody else doing. Something that I know is not going to get me in no danger. And I just stack my money, man. Bud has proven everything he has wanted to prove in the sport of boxing and then some. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to see him go out with us seeing his best effort, his best showing, because in boxing, that's how people remember you. People remember you by the last fight they seen you in. And Bud, with this fight last night beating Canelo, he's pretty much had a storybook career, man. So I I saw one of my friends say that they want him to fight Boots. Man, Boots can't do nothing for Terence Crawford right now. I think he beat Boots last night too, especially since Boots was wild enough to go to Canelo's camp openly and help him prepare for Terence Bud Crawford. Man, ain't no way I'll fight that dude, man. If he did that to Canelo, I don't even see why y'all even mentioning Boots now. Like, Boots got to go find his own way now. Like, you know what I'm saying? He'd be doing Boots a favor by fighting him now. And I ain't doing favors for nobody that is helping somebody get prepared for me, man. It got to be a whole bunch of money involved. A whole bunch. And once again, Terence don't necessarily need that now. Boots is the one at 154 asking for tune-up fights before he fights anybody. I've been telling y'all Boots ain't who y'all think he is, but that's a whole nother video. So with that being said, I just want to go on record one more time saying congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford. Congratulations to his team. Congratulations to the city of Omaha, Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Y'all really gave us a gift with Bud, man. He is one of the greatest boxers of all time now, and can't nobody take that away. So what y'all got to say? What y'all got in response? What y'all think about the fight last night? This is Big Dom Boxing. Thank y'all for stopping by my page. Make sure to like, comment, share this video. And hey, I'm about to go enjoy the weekend. My spirit is full. I ain't even got to go to church today. That's how seeing that fight last night really got to me. It's like, man, like he really doing this. He did it. Just like I said he would, just like he said he would. And it's a beautiful feeling to see boxing on that level. So, you know, man, I hope y'all enjoyed that fight as much as I did. Big Dom Boxing, we out. Till next time.